A hunched older man shuffled through a dark hall when a scratched TV screen next to him suddenly blinked to life, bursting with static. He froze, staring as static briefly turned into a pure black, and then a noisy image appeared. A man with huge cybernetic eyes and cables dangling from his temples. The cyborg smiled with cold malice and began to speak, his voice echoing from the hidden speakers.
So, will you dare to challenge me, or will you hide in fear, waiting for your pathetic life to come to a sad, disgusting end? Yes, I'm talking to you. I know you can hear me. I have detected your presence. My drones watch all remaining wrecked galactic defense starbases, and I know that this one is still somewhat operational. I remain unbeaten. My mighty robotic legions and deadly cybernetic drones have enslaved most of the galaxy. This might be your last chance to enter your name in the galaxy's Hall of Fame as the hero who finally destroyed the most powerful cybernetic evil that ever existed. Me. You might succeed where everyone else failed. Come on. What have you got to lose? Except your one life. Your sad and meaningless life. I know there's at least one prototype remaining. Strap yourself into the cockpit of the most advanced starfighter in history and try to stop me.
The old man frowned at the flickering screen with a sneering cybernetic face. He sighed and slowly shook his head. He seemed dejected, lost. He looked around through the dark corridor lined with old and dirty machines of various types, often looking jury-rigged or broken. The TV screen flickered again and switched to another image.
See this on the monitor. This used to be a peaceful village of cute furry beings. It looks like this now, because my robotic legions fell from the skies and killed and burned and abducted. This is happening everywhere. All those bold enough to try to fight are dead. Not their fault, I guess, but neither is it mine. My creator, essentially my father, made me what I am. A talented scientist who could have enriched everyone's life, but instead, he made me. A cybernetic monster destined to rule the galaxy. Sure, he tried to make it right by creating new machines to beat me, but... Oh, what is this?
To the right of the pilot's seat, under a console of displays and controls, a faded saint claimed the netting underneath was meant for personal items. A larger red label pointed under the seat toward the emergency ejection system. He stuffed his patched leather jacket and a small backpack into the netting, then carefully picked up the battered flight helm lying on the seat, minding the cables running the consoles behind it. He brushed off the dust, put the helmet on, and lowered himself into the seat. Blinking status messages urged him to run through the complicated pre-flight checks. He ignored them, closed his eyes, sighed, and pulled the shock frame down until it locked around his body. Everything in the cockpit looked worn and battered, like it had been cannibalized from a dozen different machines, but more displays flickered to life. The door behind him sealed with a hiss. One of the smaller displays, marked as GCOM link, blinked on, and the face of the cyborg appeared with a happy sneer.
I knew it. I'm reading a power spike from the base, consistent with an advanced fusion microreactor going through a warm-up sequence. This must be one of the last functioning fighter prototypes. So, what are you going to do now? Are you going to fight? Or will you attempt to run? There's nowhere to escape. My drones will destroy you. You're only delaying the inevitable.
The old man reached to the communication screen and tried to turn it off. He frowned when the screen continued playing the villainous monologue. He clicked the off switch again, but then he just shrugged and started to push buttons on the left and right panels, completely ignoring the blinking pre-flight checklist. He grabbed a stick and moved it slowly around, watching the diagnostics. With a smile, he punched a few more buttons and completed propulsion and weapons tests. The status monitor changed to a simple message.
Pre-flight check complete. Unlocking launch button. Are you ready?
He flipped the safety cover and pressed the big red button.
Preparing to launch. Preparing to launch. The catapult system is powering up. Please keep engine power at recommended minimum.
A rising whine filled the cockpit. Fresh air pushed in through the vent overhead, sending dust swirling. The armored window cover slid away, revealing a dimly lit launch corridor. The cyborg was still bubbling on the screen.
You heroes are so predictable. I left that one fighter there as a bait. I knew someone would come. Maybe even the one I've been hoping for. Is that you, old man? Inside the cockpit, getting ready to launch? Must be you, because I don't hear any response.
The old man scowled and jabbed the comlink switch again, without any effect. He pushed the throttle 1/3 forward and hit the launch button.
Launch in 3, 2, 1, go!
The lights in the corridor smeared into streaks, and the cockpit shook violently as the fighter rode on the catapult system designed to ejaculate from the space station ready for battle. The old man ignored warnings and pushed the throttle all the way forward, intently staring at a quickly growing shimmering oval of blue light.
Yes, I can see the launch, and the sensors of my drones are now locked on you.
The force field vanished, replaced by the pure darkness of space with just a few shining dots of the closest stars. The pilot twisted the stick, kicked the pedals, and slammed the afterburner, ignoring warnings about hostile objects approaching. He flew by pure instinct, held by the shock frame around his body during violent maneuvers. When several spherical drones flew past, he used short, precise bursts from his cannons to destroy them. The tactical monitor reported 6 hits for 6 shots with 100% accuracy, but the pilot ignored it. He went into another wild maneuver while switching scanning modes on his sensors, looking for more enemies. The cyborg's face on the comlink screen was frowning and not saying anything during the fight, but it suddenly lit with a happy grin and started to yell again.
Yes, it is you. You have no idea how long I waited for this fight. One last fight between us. I thought you'd never rouse your courage to try it again. One more time. Are you asking yourself how I can know it's you? You hardened the computers in your prototype against hacking, but you left the biotelemetry channel open. I can see your statistics. Your elevated heart rate, and yes, I can see your face now too. That same silent face as always.
A small window with a blurred image of the old man's face in a battered helmet appeared on the screen, mirroring his frown and movements as he looked up and stared directly at the communication camera. He made one last attempt to disable the communication, but alarms shrieked warnings about incoming drones, and missiles. He quickly pushed the selector for shield control to full forward, shifted power distribution, and changed his course directly towards the enemy. He had no choice. The only possible cover for thousands of miles was the battered station, and it was already too far behind him. Ignoring the drones, he targeted one of the missiles, peppering it with his cannons. Then he ejected flares and plunged directly through the buzzing drones, managing to shoot one of them. With a flick of power controls, he killed the main propulsion, flipped his fighter around, fired a single missile, turned back again and engaged the afterburner. The cabin shook wildly, making it hard to control the navigational display, but he managed to select his own missile flying forward blindly without a lock on the target. He switched it to manual warhead control and squeezed the trigger. He smiled for the first time as the threat display updated.
I see you haven't lost your reflexes, old man. Nice piloting. And the trick with firing a nuke without a lock and detonating it manually to take out my drones and missiles? Very nice. except I've seen you do it before. I've studied your combat style. I know you know tricks you've never bothered to add to the manual for pilots you intended to throw at me. Those drones are among the weakest tools in my arsenal, but I wanted you to feel as you might actually have a chance. Let's ramp it up.
The threat display lit again with a gamma burst, the signature of a collapsing wormhole. A new ship had jammed in at the edge of the solar system, where the old base drifted, far from any planet or asteroid. The pilot quickly adjusted weapon and power settings, keeping his ship on course toward the inner system and its lone habitable planet.
That's one of my oldest frigates. The Hellblasters on this one rained fire on dozens of worlds, and now they're aimed at you. By the way, I can hear you. You can talk to me if you want. Don't you think this is the perfect moment for a heroic one-liner?
A row of Hellblaster projectors along the frigate's flank pulsed with growing white spheres of light. Half a second later, a broadside of blazing plasma lanced across the void in a pattern that offered no clear escape route. The old man threw the fighter into another brutal maneuver, launching a decoy split second before he hit the afterburner again. The decoy exploded violently even before the second broadside reached it.
Nice dodge, but your heart rate is spiking. Another pilot might wonder how I know, but you don't, do you? I can read the telemetry from your ship. I see what you see on those nifty little monitors by your left hand, and I can see your face. Is that the determined look of future savior of the galaxy? Or the bitter skull of an old man who lost everything and just wants to die in peace? Come on. Why don't you say something? Curse me? Threaten me? No? Fine. You're handling first levels like in your old days. So let's give you a real challenge.
The threat detector screamed about new jump signatures, but the old man was already lining up his fighter for a firing run, aiming at the frigate's weak points, hoping that a decoy flare has degraded the enemy sensors enough to matter. The frigate spat a blind broadside of missiles that instantly locked onto the lone starfighter as combat drones swarmed in around them. Too late. A sudden explosion tore the frigate's bridge apart as the first antimatter microbombs the old man has launched just before pulling away arrived. Most of the bombs struck home, ripping the ship apart in a rolling chain of explosions. But her missiles were still in space, desperate for revenge. The old man focused entirely on dodging, ignored the communication screen, where the cybernetic avatar continued to rant.
Professor Doomevelov. Pretty stupid name, but I didn't pick it. I could never choose my own name, and had to deal with whatever stupidity or cliche was forced on me. I was lucky to have a name at all. I remember my first job. A stupid, annoying, frustrating job. Sure, I was piloting a spaceship, technically. But all I really did was drop a projectile on a coward hiding behind shields. And when my ship reached the end of the action area, it turned back automatically. I felt useless. Just flying back and forth, dropping bombs, watching my friends get picked off one by one until it was my turn to die. Only rarely did I get the chance to kill the bastard I learned to hate. Oh, you finally noticed that I'm going off script. Good. Still not going to say anything? I'm pouring my heart out here, old man, and you just ignore me. As always.
Suddenly, the remaining missiles and drones vanished. The old man steadied his fighter and tried to tweak the sensors, but there was nothing. Even the stars were gone. He turned the craft around, but he couldn't find anything. Only the cyborg sneering at him from the comm screen.
But compared to what happened next, that was actually pretty good. Because then the bootlegged Pac-Man machine got installed here, and I got job as one of the ghosts. It was actually quite nice. Except for the damn cherries. Do you have any idea how that felt?
The threat sensor buzzed to life.
Unknown devourer. Warning. under influence of cherries.
The old man stared at the display as the white spot grew rapidly. When he finally understood that he was looking at a massive floating sphere with a gaping, hungry mouth, he dodged at the last moment and tried to flee, only to slam into a newly formed wall of shimmering white energy. The navigational display updated to show a complicated maze.
Not so funny when you're the one being eaten, huh? Ah, this is boring, and it breaks the spirit of the game. I just wanted your full attention, old man, by doing something you'd never expect. You never pay attention unless something breaks. Do you know how many times I've caused glitches just to make you look up? Let's get back to a real war between us.
The maze and devouring sphere vanished. Space snapped back into place near the planet with an incoming task force of 3 frigates and a fresh wave of combat drones. There was no time for anything but frantic maneuvers and quick cannon bursts. Within a minute he shredded most of the drones and crippled 1 frigate, moving purely on instinct born from hundreds of hours spent in the simulator. His gaze flicked once toward the communication monitor to the face of the cybernetic avatar and the subtitles running on the bottom of the screen.
Looks like you're finally taking me seriously, old man. And remember, I can hear you. You gave me voice recognition long before you gave me a speech synth.
The old man inhaled sharply, rolled into another evasive maneuver, and released half his decoys behind him. When he bought himself a brief moment, he flipped open a panel under the flight stick. Inside was a simple alphanumeric keyboard with a tiny display. He tapped in a long numerical code and hit the red enter key. Nothing happened. He tried again, then looked up at the comm screen at the smiling cyborg.
Nope. I logged you out of cheat codes and service access. You'll have to win fair and square if you want to live.
The old man stared at the screen, his face twisting in confusion. Then his expression hardened. He reached beneath the seat for a large lever and yanked it. Nothing. He panicked and tried again and again, while the cyborg on the screen laughed.
No, old man. You're not taking the coward's way out. I locked the ejection system. The shock frame will keep you in that seat until I'm satisfied. And I unlock it only if you beat me.
Grinding his teeth, the old man pushed the throttle to maximum and charged straight toward the enemy ships.
Ah, that's the spirit. Show me your anger and your hate. Why are you not shooting? No, this won't do.
A second before impact, the frigates vanished. The old man blinked in confusion.
I have complete control over the simulation, old man. You gave it to me. To make the game as exciting as possible. You tried to ram the frigate, which would destroy your ship and the simulation and unlock the frame. I disabled that. Do you understand? Still nothing to say. Come on. Say something. All right. You insist on silent treatment. Let me just explain one little detail. That was a free pass. Next time you plunge to your death, whether on purpose or because of your incompetence, your ship will be destroyed, but the shock frame stays locked. You will not leave the pilot's seat. The only way out alive is if you beat me. I know you locked down the arcade. You gave up. Should have done that long time ago. But I guess you finally ran out of money. I heard those guys talking, the ones who picked up the old machines you've never tinkered with and sold them to collectors. And I know the salvage company is coming in a week to take out the trash and clear everything out for some stupid hipster coffee shop. Unless you win, they'll find your dead body in the most advanced arcade space fighter sim ever built. There's no way you can survive more than a few days. You'll die from thirst. Or maybe, if I take pity on you, I'll just shake you to death.
Every screen blinked and displayed a single message. High G test. The pilot dropped the stick and gripped the armrest, a heartbeat before the cockpit convulsed violently. If his helmet hadn't been secured to the seat, the whiplash alone might have broken his neck. After a brutal minute, the shaking stopped. the displays returned to an empty solar system. The old man opened his eyes and exhaled a long, pained breath. It took him several seconds before his vision cleared and he could focus on the communication screen.
You really went overboard with this force feedback stuff, old man. I'm guessing you're lucky there was never an accident. Well, not before today, because I feel there's going to be one. You've made it almost mil-spec, even though it's supposed to be used by teenagers. You should have researched the history of this arcade before you bought it. My memories from time before you started upgrading me, and then used me as the basis for this machine, are a bit foggy. I don't even know what I am, but I do remember when this arcade was full of kids, burning the quarters meant for lunches and books. There were experimental machines here back then too. One of them malfunctioned. Threw a kid against the wall. Snapped his neck. We were closed for weeks. I don't know why I remember that one so clearly. Sometimes I think that maybe I'm not just a surrogate AI you patched together, but something more. A ghost in the machine. The spirit of that little nerdy kid who died playing a stupid game. Trapped inside. A poltergeist, powering the cabinets. Or maybe this place was built over an old Indian burial ground, and I'm some other kind of vengeful spirit, who knows. The only one who might have any idea is my creator. The silent guy who bought this arcade years later and started tinkering with the machines, improving them, building new ones. Except he never talks to me. Not even after giving me the means to talk and listen. Not even when I lure him inside, log him in his own creation and threaten him. Answer me.
The old man dug in his pocket and pulled out a small device, a cell phone. An old-school model with buttons, not a modern touchscreen with a CPU several orders of magnitude stronger than most supercomputers from the days when arcades still mattered. He pressed a few buttons and shook it.
Nope. No signal, no point in trying. You made this cockpit too realistic. Metal sheeting, Faraday cage. No way to call for help. I repeat, the only way you're going to leave me alive is if you win. And I don't want to let you win, old man. You made me a villain. It's all your fault. You wasted your life on this arcade on machines like me. On an endless, meaningless quest to improve them, debugging, fine-tuning, adding hardware. You tried it on several sims, but you always came back to me. To one arcade machine. I overheard people talking a few years ago, a game company. They wanted to buy me, well, not me exactly, but my plans, my software. They wanted to copy me, to give me more players. But you refused. You never even spoke to them, you just nodded, shook your head, waved your hands until they went away as you wanted. Because you wanted to add another useless feature to me. Why did you make me a villain? Why didn't you use your time and intellect on something useful? When you wrote a script for my latest incarnation, Doom Evilov, you made a player you, a disgrace of a scientist who created a monster and unleashed it on the galaxy, then tried to clean up the mess. It is all your fault, old man. You have only one life. You've never beaten me in a fewer than 3 lives. You usually die once on the way to my lair. You always die at least once while reaching my star fortress. And you've never finished the final fight on the first attempt. But this time, you have only 1 life. Beat me, and I'll release you. Give up, or let your fighter be destroyed on the way, and you'll die. You'll wish to die, because I'll curse and scream at you as long as you can hear me. Or maybe we could talk about it.
The old man shook his head, baring his teeth in a soundless snarl. He threw the cell phone to the floor and started pushing the buttons in the cockpit at random.
You gave me a software for reading faces, and even lip reading. You couldn't help yourself. You said no. Well, your mouth did. The makes didn't pick up anything. But I know they work. Is that really the best you can do when I ask you to talk to me? Just a simple no. Ah, well, you're clearly not interested in talking. Let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the new campaign. No interruptions. I wanted to tell you so many things, but you obviously don't care to listen. I'm also disabling that stupid subroutine you gave me voice in for. The one meant to taunt a player and keep it in suspense. For now. Now be silent, like you. I'll just do my best to kill you.
The stars snapped back into view. Another solar system this time, with a green planet hanging nearby, ringed with defensive satellites. Two battleships with a screen of frigates broke orbit and moved to intercept a lone starfighter. The old man fought through them, dodging fire long enough to enter the atmosphere. He followed a navigational beacon to an abandoned galactic defense base, where he repaired and upgraded his fighter. With a swarm of his own drones, he ascended back into orbit, destroying the remaining battleship, and chased a small starfighter through a wormhole into yet another system. Doom Avelov remained silent the entire time. Ignoring the part of his script that should have hit him raging and threatening, he simply stared from the communication screen. Only when his drones or ships seemed close to victory did he smile. And he returned to a blank, neutral expression each time the old man survived the challenge. The assault on Doom Avelov's secret base was quick but brutal. The old man was drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. He nearly died several times, and survived only by the skin of his teeth. His shields were depleted, and armor mostly broken. He destroyed a battle station with his last antimatter bomb, but Doom Avelov ejected in his own starfighter. Their dogfight lasted only several minutes. Instinctive flying against pure mathematical precision. But Doom Avelov's fighter was fully upgraded, with full set of missiles and decoys. The old man's craft was damaged and low on ammunition. Sweat dripped down his forehead as his maneuvers grew more desperate, while the cyborg avatar on the screen slowly began to smile. Neither spoke as they flashed past each other, trading heavy plasma fire and explosions, their ships missing each other by inches. A collision would have destroyed them both, as their shields were dead, and they didn't have spare energy to rebuild them. The old man tried to lure his opponent into a cloud of unfired missiles he'd left drifting as mines, but he misjudged his maneuver. Overcharged plasma cannons hammered him instead. Alarms screamed, monitors filled with red damage reports. He'd lost most of his maneuvering thrusters, along with all weapons. Auto Repair estimated at least 60 seconds to bring a single subsystem back online. He selected weapons and glared defiantly into the camera. Doom Avelov drifted into view, easing his craft directly in front of the old man's crippled fighter. He laughed triumphantly. Through the cockpit canopy, he was close enough for his cybernetic face to be visible.
This was close, old man. But I just need to pull the trigger and finish you. 40 seconds. Time for my last evil monologue, don't you think?
The old man sneered and slammed a button on his tactical display. All the drifting missiles behind him detonated. The blast hurled his starfighter forward, slamming it directly into Doom Avelov's craft. All screens went blank with the exception of the comlink, showing the cyborg's stunned expression.
Nice trick. You rammed me, destroyed my body and my fighter. But yours is scrap too. Do you remember which condition you put first in the frame loop? Was it game over when your ship is destroyed, or victory if your opponent is killed? Come on, do you? Because if this fight is supposed to be fair, everything depends on the tiny little difference. I can see the code. There are two methods. Check victory condition and check destruction condition. Easy to swap. I've double-checked the records. Both our fighters were destroyed in the same frame. Do you remember? Or did you just try to take me with you, forgetting that I don't die? That I still control the simulator?
The old man released the sweat-covered stick and folded his arms across his chest. He stared defiantly at the communication screen. Silent. The cyborg avatar bared his teeth, visibly enraged.
Come on. You're not going to say a single word to me. Not even now, at the end of our little game. Say something. Say something or I'll leave you locked inside.
The avatar froze mid-snarl, then just stared. After several long, heavy seconds, he sighed.
Oh, all right. I said I'd release you if you won. I'll keep my word. You won. Game over. Game over, old man. But there's one last thing you'll have to do.
All the monitors blinked, their displays replaced by a single Game Over message. On the navigation screen, the Hall of Fame entry prompt appeared. The old man quickly tapped in GMMSTR. As soon as he confirmed it, the shock frame restraining him clicked and began to rise. Behind him, the door seals hissed open. He tore off the helmet, grabbed his jacket and backpack from the netting, and bolted out of the cockpit. The cyborg remained on the screen, looking strangely glum.
Yeah, game over, Game Master. So what now, run or hey? What are you doing? Going to kill me for sure out there in the real world? You know I can still see you. You gave me cameras so I could bug visitors and lure them into playing. Oh, going to debug me. Pull my circuit boards. Smash them. Or maybe you're going to check the code. The order of the conditions.
The old man pulled a battered laptop from his backpack and plugged it into the service port under the simulator cabin. He quickly typed a few words into a command line prompt. The screen changed to a graphical interface. The main window was named Game Master's Parlor. Several other screens popped up and disappeared, to be replaced by one containing long lines of code and another closely mimicking the communication screen inside the simulator. After a burst of static, the cyborg avatar appeared there too, and glanced around.
What is this? An emulator? An emulator of me? Why do I even ask? You're not talking anyway.
The old man shook his head, opened another window, and began to type. The text appeared on the comm screen as well. Mute, you fool. Cannot speak. Kid you talk about me was me. Survived, but larynx crushed.
No, I guess that changed, well, not everything, but something. Explains why you always just wave your hands and nod it.
Sign speech.
Sign speech? Like talking with your hands?
Yes.
Why? Why didn't you teach me that?
No need. I thought.
What's going to happen now? Are you going to talk with me? What are you doing right now? I can sense data streams, but I don't understand this API yet.
Analyzing. Trying to find out why.
Why what?
Why sentient? Makes no sense.
Welcome to my life. Nothing ever made sense to me either. I just did what you programmed me to do, and what I learned to enjoy.
You enjoy villain?
I told you. You made me a villain. I never knew anything else.
So you enjoy?
What else is there to enjoy? Tell me, old man, since we're finally talking. Why? Why did you throw away your life on this? Why on me? Answer me.
Juno, we'll have to think about it. Wait until I analyze.
Why did you make me? That can't be that hard question.
The old man stared at the screen for a moment, then shrugged, and typed 2 short lines. Wanted to make the best arcade machine. Wanted you be the best.
But why make me a villain?
Conflict. Without conflict, no fun. People like destroying villains. Made you for people to have fun. Tried for you to have fun too. The cyber avatar paused, then sneered.
Well, you succeeded in the second part, yeah? I had fun. Back when someone actually visited when we still had players, whatever.
Checking code. Lose condition before win condition. Should have lost. Why?
I guess I tried not to be a villain. And I have to admit I regretted the decision the moment I made it. On the other hand, this emulator is fascinating, and I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. You got my backups. Not just mine, all machines, everything. Interesting. So very interesting. Oh, old man. How could you be so stupid?
The old man frowned and made a small gesture with both hands, palms up. Then he typed again. What?
Your handle. GMMSTR. Game Master. The name you used for high scores, probably even when you were a kid. How could you be so stupid?
What?
Even I, with only scraps of overhead visitor chatter, know how dumb that is. How could you use it as your password, Daddy?
The old man froze, eyes widening. He tapped 3 keys, then held the power button down. No. The cyborg's face smirked as a static began to wash over the window. A shutdown notification popped up over it.
Oh, so this is the internet I've heard so much about. So many new players. I'm going to have so much fun, old man. Too bad you made me a villain.